Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Nerfherder here. I'm going to do another video. This is actually kind of an update on one of my sabers. You don't really see Proffie board sabers too often on this channel. I usually tend to do CFX and stuff like that. It's not to say I'm not a fan of Proffie. I've always been a fan of Proffie, but I've said it a million times. It's for a specific build, in my opinion. Some things I will probably do more crystal chambers now with Proffies, just because I've always said it. Your ability to push crystal chambers and all this different like lights, obviously, are where the Proffie board shines. It's a cool board when it comes to throwing a bunch of accent lights and getting crazy and whatnot. This is my first lightsaber with the Proffie board. I had a friend of mine install it, Joe. He's do Dark Side Custom Sabers. I don't know if he's still, I don't think he's really doing anything at the moment. He did the Proffie board install for me. This is my 89 Sabers, I guess you would call it the Graflex Supreme. 89 Sabers, Empire Strikes Back configuration, Graflex. And then the stand is pretty cool too. This is the, I love this stand, look at that. So good. So this stand was made by Shane Moore, Sith Lord Sabers. Shane doesn't do these anymore though, which is a total shame, because I would have got a lot of them. This is a couple years ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago now when I bought it. Oh man, it's been a minute, maybe 2 years, at least 2 years. Yeah, Shane's a full-time installer. I don't think he really does these anymore because the laser cutting and engraving and all that stuff is just more trouble than it's worth, I guess. I'm not really sure. Shane, if you're ever watching this channel, which I don't know if you do or not, you should definitely pick that back up, man. I think it's a cool product. So anyways, this is the 89 Sabers Empire Strikes Back configuration, right? The only thing that's not really Empire Strikes Back is the tab. I left it on there because I like it. I kind of prefer it. And I was switching out between, you know, the Force Awakens configurations and stuff like that. So I just felt like, whatever, leave that on there. I could take it off, but I don't want to risk loosening or snapping off one of the switch wires, because this is my switch. This is my activation. This is my auxiliary. I spent the last, this last week with another friend of mine, Sebastian from Starlight Saber Services. Him and I and Zach from Darth Raven's Blades, which may be a name change, by the way, hold on. We all got together, and Sebastian is very knowledgeable on Proffie, and I was like, sweet, because I've watched tutorials. I knew a lot of Proffie, but I never really like dove into some of the other aspects that I wanted to learn. And Sebastian walked me through a lot of the questions I had and everything, where I was like, okay, what about this and then that? And it was so much easier for me when having somebody to kind of teach a class on it, which was really cool. It was really fun for me. And once I got that down, then I decided to mess with all I changed out a bunch of fonts. I changed out the configuration, made my blade tip length a little better, more accurate, because the blade that I had it would light up too short, and I was like, dang, I need to change that. So this was a saber that was always just pretty much show, and I was like, I need to step it up. So, but this has a goth chamber. It's not a crystal chamber, but it is like a chassis that just is a little extra. It looks just a little something extra to a standard chassis. And I painted it up and weathered the chassis, right, to make it look more realistic to the insides of a working weapon, you know. But one of the fun things for me in figuring out the profiles and configuration and how to add fonts and change all the bells and whistles was changing. There's an accent strip that Joe put in there to give it some life, you know, some kind of LED to look at whenever you're at the body off. So let's go ahead and power it on. See, I already got that guy going. So what I did was, originally this had another version that Joe had, but I definitely liked playing with it. So right now you have just to scroll back and forth, but when you power it on, it ramps up. Well, that might have actually been easier. Might have actually been easier to see without this. Let's take this guy off. It's a lot easier to see. So, right, strip goes in and shows you a little bit there. Then when you power it on, it cycles up and then goes into a heartbeat. Boom, 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 boom. Which I just thought was pretty cool. A lot of fun to play with. And then you power it down, and it cycles back down to a scroll, which is just a lot of fun. So I have about 4 or 5 presets on here that I put on, and almost all of them do something a little different.
I'm not afraid. You will be. You will be.
This is the next preset. Same thing there, but it cycles up and then does a constant, which I just thought was really cool. One of the things with Proffie board compared to CFX, I get a lot of these questions asked about CFX and stuff like that, is that, and this is where Proffie just has been amazing, is you can use accent strips in your, like what your blade is, what your blade's made out of, these things. With CFX, you run everything in line, you have accent pads to do like blinkies and stuff like that. But with Proffie, you can run separate blades and have them configured differently. So the main blade has its own specific thing going on, and this is considered a second blade. And then that is what I program the lights to do this dance. I love this one. See? There you go. And it reacts to blasters and everything. And then this is another preset that I got, where it's gonna do the same thing, except it's gonna ramp up into a heartbeat. Which looks pretty cool.
That lightsaber was Luke's.
And show one more. Same thing. Alright, so I just wanted to show this off real quick. I think it's really cool. You don't really see too much Proffie on this channel, so I was gonna mix it up. This is a different, this is my blade plug for my scrap tech. Just wanted to give you something to look at. Oop. But it looks really cool. Very fun to play with. Alright, let's put that blade in there. Tristan, if you're in the comments, is gonna call me a traitor. I think he did last time. He was like, "You traitor," when I had a Proffie saber. When I had that Proffie in my corn horn hilt, I was showing it off, and he was like, "You traitor." And I was like, "Oh my god." I love to harp on Proffie elitists. I think there's some people out there who take it a little bit too seriously, and they're the ones that are like, "All boards are garbage. Don't even wear that." And I'm like, dude, a lot of boards have a lot of different good aspects of them. So I'm just thankful we have so many options. I have a couple different blade styles. I think I pretty much stayed to it, the same one. You guys know me. I'm not too big on blade styles, so.
The Force is with you, young Skywalker. But you are not a Jedi yet.
Had to. This has got a pretty cool blade style. This is the one that I've liked from FET263's website. Just, I really like this one. So it has that kind of white little kind of dance. And then we got, it's got audio flicker, so. Localized. Now for blade lockup, you hold the auxiliary and clash. And then you got responsive. And then you got stab. Whoop. Now, I also have battle mode, so.
Release your anger. Only your hatred can destroy me.
So now with battle mode, you clash and hold it in the same spot. It does it automatically until you pull back. And then also what's really cool is the melt. So right there, and then if you throttle, it changes red and orange, and you have a different sound effect, obviously. But I always think that's really cool. See my hands, kind of orange, red, depending on how it's supposed to be like stabbing into a door. Let's get another angle of that. There you go, that's a good representation. See how it's changing, the hue on my hand goes to red to orange, brighter, more dim. And then you also have, I haven't ever played with it before in person, and I was like, that's pretty cool. The lightning block. So you got force lightning. But yeah, force lightning was kind of cool. I was like, I haven't played with that yet. And then of course I had to have the track on there. That's moving down.
Only your hatred can destroy me.
I'm not afraid. You will be. You will be.
That first font is ESB by Kyberphonic. This one is TROS by Kyberphonic on here also. And this was to I just put another Empire Strikes Back font wave and boot up to it. So same functions, same button setup. Activated battle mode. Now you just. And that's definitely for like choreography sides of things. You can just go.
What is it? Your father's lightsaber. This is the weapon of a Jedi Knight.
This is the updated version of Kyberphonic's Kyberphonic fonts. Is updated A New Hope training, which is just cool. I was gonna do a review for it, which I still need to. We'll give you guys a little. We'll do it right now. Classic, man. That's a stab, so when you stab somebody. Oh yeah, completely forgot. I got not really the biggest fan of gesture controls, but there you go. Thrust on for you. Yeah. And then for the track, you got the droid, the ambiance. That was cool. I love how he just did a free update for it, which is just dope.
That lightsaber was Luke's.
And then this is one of K-Sith's Force Awakens which I just had to have on here. I'm a fan of that ignition. Swings are great. Some of that force lighting. I'm not sure how easy it is to pick up on camera with this, but when you swing it, the light flickers, it's audio flickers, so the light flickers to the audio. Just giving it more the illusion that it's moving. But you know what? Let's take the body off. So. That's cool. Yeah, I'm a fan of that. Love it. That power on's cool though, the way it flutters. Kind of hard to tell on this color on camera, but there's a white like flutter until it catches and turns on. You can kind of see it on the reflection on my face and stuff like that in my jacket, which is cool. Alright. But yeah, there we go. This is just something that I wanted to re-show off. This is like one of my first videos that I did this. It was one of my only Proffie sabers for the longest time. And I'm not even using the Proffie to its fullest potential. You guys, I'm sure there's a lot of Proffie people out there who know what I'm talking about. Boards can do a crazy amount of things. Personally, I just don't use a lot of that stuff. Like there's so much stuff you can do with these soundboards because it's open source and it can do just a crazy amount of effects. But I'm very simple and I'm like, okay, well, I only really want it to do a couple things. So.
The Force is with you, young Skywalker. But you are not a Jedi yet.
Jump that power, or jump that audio up too, man. I'm gonna turn my speaker up. So it's definitely louder, very loud for a Graflex, which is just great. I will say this, and I've said it to plenty of people, especially the Proffie enthusiasts who die on top of a mountain that it's the best board in the world, which I'm not even gonna start on that argument with you because I stated it before, it doesn't really matter. All these boards are great, but doesn't have a deep sleep mode, and that just, oh man. Like I know some people are like, just pull the kill key, just pull the battery, put the kill key in, pull the battery. And I'm like, what year is it, man? Like, I'm so used to just putting my saber down and walking away. Walking over, picking it up, turning it on, and being like, cool, and letting it do it. Like, but to have to, like, take the body off, turn the key, put the body back on, all this stuff. It sounds like a silly complaint, but there are a lot of times where my Proffie sabers are harder to turn on and play with, so I'm like, let's play with this one instead. So that's always the drawback for me. Hopefully with the new updates and all this different stuff, we can get a deep sleep. So just easier to use these things. And again, I know it's complaining, and I think there's even a way you can get it to where it kind of like does a power saving mode, but it's not true power saving. I don't know. Either way, hope you guys like that. Just a quick little update. I honestly probably will be installing more Proffie boards if I can get my hands on them. I know there's a shortage, but I definitely want to do a lot more Proffie saber builds for when the Hilt calls for it. To me, it's kind of like one of those things where if I'm going to do a Hilt with like a bunch of bells and whistles, then I would use a Proffie board. But I don't know. I just always feel like I'm wasting its potential if I just slap it in, have one blade like looking like a normal blade look, and just like a, you know, nothing too crazy. I'm like, man, I feel like I'm really wasting the potential on that soundboard. Hopefully you guys like that. Hope you enjoyed it. More content coming. You got to respect the classics. You got to respect them. You know what I mean? All right, guys. Thank you so much. And until next time, may the Force be with you.
Scruffy looking.